We need a HeiseSays voice to Parliament. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee and let's talk about the voice, everyone. A very divisive topic at the moment, which, well, frankly, Anthony's is already starting to blame the media for the slide in support for the voice. And if you go on Twitter, you'd think Dutton masterminded all of it. Now, this is the referendum to establish a new advisory body. Well, more government jobs, more bureaucracy, more talking to try and address the, seems to be never-ending gap between many aspects of lives for Indigenous Australians and the average Aussie. Now, I can't imagine most Aussies don't want to see the gap addressed. It's, in a modern society, it's something that shouldn't exist. Everyone should have an opportunity to make the best of their lives. They should have the freedom to own their own property, to start a business, to create opportunities to get educated, to express their own opinions in public. But for some Australians, well, you're stuck in a town in the middle of nowhere. The only shop is controlled by the state government. They set all the prices. You don't even own your own house. You can't own your own house. It's all controlled by the body corporate. So yeah, well, I'm not surprised there are a lot of people that feel the need for this voice. Honestly, to me, it says our House of Reps members are doing an atrocious job. They are the voice right now for their constituents. They need to represent them, be they any race, creed, or colour. Doesn't matter, any religion, any group. Australia is a multicultural society. You need to represent all of the members in your constituency. This call for a voice tells me that the politicians whose job it is to represent the Indigenous Australians around Australia are doing a shit job. And I would frankly rather see the money we're investing on this referendum be deployed to those politicians who might struggle to even engage with their local constituents because of the sheer size of some of the areas where they are. If you compare some of the electorates in remote parts of Australia, they're bigger than countries in the other parts of the world. So, yeah, you can tell where my vote is going. I'll be voting no. I don't think it's going to, I don't think we need to grow government, and I think we need to look at addressing some other issues before we create an entirely new body. And there's a significant precedent as well of these type of things just becoming a disaster. Look at ATSIC for one. Remember, money isn't infinite. We have limited resources, and Australians are struggling right now. Cost of living is going through the roof. A lot, and I think that's got a big. We can't afford a voice in many ways. A lot of Australians have got other things to worry about. It feels very political. I think Labor has missed the mark of what is really important to the average Aussie. So let's have a look at a few things, everyone. We jump over here. We can see Albanese's blaming the media for the slide in the voice. Every state is now voting no. So it looks like it's dead in the water. Perhaps the one gift of this could be a Labor repositioning itself and understanding what's important to the average Aussie. But, how are you voting? How are my viewers voting on the channel here? And of the 2,300 of you, 79% are voting no, 9% are voting yes, 7% are undecided, and 5% are donkey voting. And that's 2,300 people. The majority of the viewers, 80% are Australian, or I think 90% are Australian, 80% are male. So 25 up. So let's have a look at some of these comments, guys. Let's see here. And we'll hide those channels I'm watching. Green text to NASA. So if it gets in, it's clearly dodgy. Every poll I've seen has most people voting no. And every person you talk to, if you're on Twitter, I make the mistake of going on there occasionally, it's just every left-wing nutbag is screaming that you're racist or stupid if you're voting no. It's ludicrous. It really is. That you're uneducated or you're dumb. That's not how you make a persuasive argument. People have to realize that, don't they? Or are they so far removed from reality, or do they actually believe it? What's even funnier is the nutters that think Murdoch is running the whole world. It's a conspiracy theory. You've got crazy people on there, and the problem is people get, it's a machine designed, Twitter I'm saying, or sorry, X, whatever Elon's done. It's a machine designed to leverage getting you angry and pissed off so you engage and watch ads. That's what it's designed for. It's brilliant at that. You see these people having all these shit fights over it. But anyway, that's not reality. South African says hi. Look what happened when you let one group have too much power. It starts small, then within 2 to 3 decades, your country collapses. So many arguments why this is not a good idea. Yeah, South Africa has gone, and I said it's gone from a nuclear power to a laughing stock now. Yeah, you've got rolling, rationed electricity over there at the moment. It's just crazy. So, are they planning to put the question in the vote into the Constitution? If not, then why are they planning? What are they planning on? It sounds like a blank check dressed up as virtue signaling emotional blackmail. We'll have to see. I mean, here's the thing. Judging by Twitter interactions, some people seem to think that Aboriginal Aussies can't live normal lives or participate in society now. And you can see by the people that are arguing successfully against this voice who are of Aboriginal descent that, yeah, they can. Or people, even those that are arguing for it, yes, they can. It's Australia. We all have a raft of different opportunities, guys. I've become very cynical about particularly what was positive discrimination. When I encountered it at university, when I was hired to help tutor an Aboriginal Australian, young bloke, good-looking, successful young guy. He was just struggling with some of the subjects. And I was there to help him through it, and he wasn't interested. He didn't get it. It's architectural design. It can be quite wanky in some regards, and you just got to jump through the hoops, even if it's not your cup of tea, and he wasn't interested in it. And I remember being pulled aside, and they were talking to me about how we can help get him through, because he'd failed this one subject 4 times. And I said, well, if you fail something so often, maybe you need to reevaluate your goals in life and look at something else. Maybe he should go off, work with his dad on a trade, he'd make more money. They didn't like that answer. Another thing we actually did, we set up a peer-to-peer where we'd just take over computer labs on the weekends, and students would pay money, $10, to come and do sessions to learn software. And, 1 hour crash courses in how to use SketchUp, how to use Revit, how to use this, how to use EndNotes for referencing. And that went really well. And I think he started coming along to that. He'd pay his money and then he'd hang around afterwards, would have, beers and pizza as students do, or did. See, none of that shit happens anymore. They all just watch lectures remote and don't meet each other. But I suspect he got more from that little thing we ran independently than the people trying to squeeze him through. So I kind of have become very cynical about these organizations that are pushing forward that they're helping, when they may just want to treat you like a number and not give a shit about the individual, but just meet their performance goals. So forgive me if I'm a bit cynical about this type of stuff, guys. So this is just to take away focus away from the other shit fuckery they're up to. Nah, it's just Labor not knowing what people are worried about. It seems very detached, honestly. No and in pen. They tell you to your face, vote to amend the Constitution. You see, the vote has nothing to do with the Aboriginals. Only brain-dead zombies vote yes, no to tyranny. To this who put donkey vote, please don't, as I will find a way to count your vote as yes. I'm voting yes. Time to get the Indigenous tent embassy indoors. I don't think it'll go indoors. Aren't they against it? Isn't the tent embassy against this? I'm voting no. I'm not empowering something created by people who have stated they want reparations. They want to destroy Australia Day and more. Here's the thing. You've got Indigenous Australians just like everyone else. They're not completely unified. You've got right-wingers, you've got left-wingers, and you probably even have some Greens in there. But, There you go, guys. You don't need to change the constitution to add what is essentially a committee of opinions. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, I get the feeling that, well, Labor's still shitty that they didn't get the gay marriage in, that it was the coalition that did it. I think they're a bit bitter about that because they're meant to be the progressives. The voice exists already. It's called a vote. Massive waste of taxpayer money during financially turbulent times. Albo has really shit the bed on this one. No group or individual should be singled out in the Constitution. If it ain't broke, stop trying to fix it. Yeah, I'm with you there, Aussie. If it ain't broke, don't try and fix it. And there's a lot broke with our country, but I don't think a voice is going to fix it. For me, no. My question to the audience who support the voice in some form, if we had the full proposal, i.e. actual words to be written in the Constitution, would you vote? And I'm going, no, the House of Reps exists. That's the voice right there. If that's not working, fix that. Pull the members aside whose constituents are complaining and, well, turf them out. Come on, Albo, you're in charge now. Labor's running the show. They could have fixed this already. They don't even have bipartisan support. It's a Trojan horse. The WAF wants yes, the talk fest. If the voice were to be implemented, we'd be living under the tyranny of the minority. We're all Australians equal under the law, or are we not? It feels like some people don't want us to be. The average Aboriginal gets no vote on the elite committee. It's political bullshit. Yeah, how are they going to select the people to be on the committee? Are they going to vote for it? And, we're meant to be praising the elders at every single event. Are the elders voted for? It's not a democratic society. If the governor ruling class offers you anything, it's a sign they intend to use it against you. Never trust politicians or the global elite. This is land tax being paid to the government of all Aboriginal land owners all over it. WF, you will own nothing and you'll be happy. I see it as being, I see it as not making any difference. Sadly enough, I'm too cynical. This is the thing. I'm too old and too cynical now. That's probably my problem. In my opinion, what's it? The young people, 18 to 25, will vote majority yes, because they're more about heart than head. They're probably most likely climate change believers. Well, they're inexperienced too. 18 to 25, we all did a lot of stupid shit, and you haven't really lived much life. You haven't had many responsibilities. And you haven't, 18 to 25, they haven't lived through enough Labor governments to realise that a lot of it's talk. And, the coalition are mean assholes for a reason. No good will come of this whole process, whether you vote yes or no. That the division it has caused was not worth it. Yes, this is, the fact, what is it? Marcia Langdon, calling the root of the no vote racist or stupid. That's ludicrous. The problem is here, you get people who can't see both sides of the argument anymore. I can completely understand why you want to have this body. If you're an Aboriginal Australian and want to get a better representation for your people. I can appreciate that. But my argument is we shouldn't be adding to, we should be fixing what we have. And if it doesn't work, well, then there's some fundamental issues because a lot of people don't feel heard anymore. And, well, welcome to mega democracy. If this unjust law goes through, it will show how corrupt the government is and voting is just a show. Vote to vote no. Lose-lose result for Australia. It will accelerate the politicians' quest to cause us to be as divided as the US. I don't think that's the politicians' quest. I think that's social media. Social media is causing this political divide. You can go on Twitter and you see people having complete and utter panic attacks. There are people out there that literally believe Australia is an insanely racist country. You've got politicians spouting this bullshit. And, every group you're going to have in-group preference one way or another, and you're going to encounter it if you live a day-to-day lives. Even a white, bald Australian bloke, okay? It's just part of life, and you got to kind of deal with it, guys. What about discrimination against, short guys in the dating market, okay? Yeah. My trust for this government is so low that it almost doesn't matter what the proposal is. Anything that disempowers the government is crucially urgent. I'd love to know how to completely destroy the WEF. I'm not too worried about the WEF. I think it's more a talk fest than anything, to be honest. Because they just talk a lot of shit. You know, and Klaus is claiming everyone as his little minion, but yeah, just wait and see. I can't believe people vote to a donkey vote. Don't they know you'll just automatically go to yes? So lame, it's either yes or no. I'm not a GigaChat, but I'll vote no. I don't like division. Hopefully the GigaChats are right this time, and technically the term is financial GigaChats. The moment I was branded as racist for simply asking what the voice is and its intent, it's a no for me. I mean, people can't believe that, can they? Can people literally believe if you question this, you're racist? I guess they can. I would have to blame social media. Honestly, I have to blame social media for causing this divide. Look how many prime ministers we've had since social media arrived. People, they just drown themselves in this shit. And, you know, they're obsessing it, they're watching it, they click, 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 click. And people on Twitter now, they will farm the views, farm the outrage for money. You know, you can make 10 grand 6 months or even more just farming this garbage. I'm at the point of the answer being no for anything government wants to do. Nothing seems to be in our interests, and it always costs us. Yep. It's only an advisory board for issues affecting Indigenous people of Australia, so why not give them a voice? And I replied to Jason, yes, they have a voice. It's the House of Reps. And he's saying they don't think they're being heard. And so I've run a poll, and we'll have a look at the poll of how many of you think you're being heard. Aboriginal people are already overrepresented in Parliament based on the population statistics. What exactly is stopping those currently in power from having a voice in how this country is governed? The Australian federal government is already a bloated mess, and this is just another layer of bureaucracy. Honestly, I think this has come about because of the government bureaucrats that engage with Indigenous Australians all around the country with all these crazy programs that just constantly fail and don't work. I suspect that's having a huge impact on this. We need to empower more of the local communities. You know, truly give the local councils much more power. You know, what if rather than doing this, you let the local Indigenous councils give them free rein to set up gambling, do what the Indians do, have more freedom, more control over their land? Wonder how that would go down. I wonder how the federal government would like that. Maybe they could set their own income taxes, and if you became a citizen of or a resident there, even remotely, you know, you pay your taxes through there. What do you think? I bet you a lot of Aussies will be voting for that if they give you a 5% discount right there. Maybe that's a little too out of the box, isn't it? I need a lot more than trust me, bro, and good intentions to vote yes. Yeah, I think a lot of people are like that. It smells bad, and politicians are trying to wing it. No. We'll be refugees in our own country if this abomination passes. I honestly think this has already caused a lot of damage, and it's set back reconciliation and just living like normal people together by decades. If you love the people, you'll vote against their sovereignty. If you hate them, you'll vote no. No works for the allies and enemies. I heard that they are changing the rules on how to vote. All donkey votes or onerous votes will be counted towards yes. There's enough anti-non-Indigenous systematic racism already. We're already disadvantaged in multiple ways, so that they gain unfair and unearned advantages in our society. It all must end. And we've seen this and discussed this in the past when there was an experiment where civil servants here in Australia were given a whole bunch of resumes with all race and sex characteristics removed and just judging by the quality of the applicants. And they found that by doing this, that people were making racist and sexist choices by choosing minorities and women as opposed to just the best applicants. So it's ingrained in our culture, sadly. This is a Aussie, yeah. Whoever can sing the best. This is an Aussie TV show, right? Yeah, I was typing in the voice, and it's coming up with the TV show. I've never watched it. Honestly, I've never watched it. I can't stand that reality shit. The last thing I watched was that girl with the bunny ears. Whatever happened to her? You know, Dream World. Looks like the Gadicha man will be visiting a lot of people. Very typical of the left, Dems like Obama, to use the race card to pretend to be doing something for blacks, but instead use it to suit their agenda. Check out Larry Elder on Valuetainment. This is a major can of worms, opposed at all costs. Well, if you look at, I think the black vote for Democrats is crumbling at the moment. It's the lowest it's ever been. If they can, well, if they turn their backs on the Democrats, then the Democrats would actually have to do something for them, wouldn't it? Funny that. It looks like Aussies are easily brainwashed. I bet most think Dutton will be a good prime minister. If you think this, get educated before you vote on anything. Now here's Roadblock thinks we're brainwashed. Not really. Well, I don't think I have. I made up my decision before the media or even Dutton got. Dutton's late to the party, guys. He's very late to the party. But then again, I'm a cynical old bastard. So, there we go. And I kind of think the House of Reps should be doing their job. Why is that never brought up, honestly? And why have I never heard anyone complaining about the House of Reps members that need to do that? Or the senators that are representing these people? Well, they're the voice. Isn't that the whole point of our political system? We vote these people in power. You know why? How many of them are Labour in these communities all around Australia? How many of them? How many of the senators are? How many of these states are Labour run? Got to vote yes, otherwise you're racist and stupid, according to the lady on the TV the other day. Voting yes or no, you still have no rights in the Constitution, waste the time and money. I'm of Indigenous heritage, and the whole concept of the voice is wrong. The fact the document is 26 pages long and hides the actual truth behind the Albo's secret agenda around treaty. We now have the author of the voice calling the no voters being racism or stupid hard no. So Limitless is, against it. Understandably. Donkey votes. You always have to tick added to them and count it as a yes. Not always. You can be a counter, guys. Someone was saying it pays a couple $100. You can do it if you want for the day. Why not be a part of history? How is it possible to still be undecided? Information is everywhere. Very easily, I think. People don't give a shit. They're over it. You can live a really good life just turning off the news. I rarely watch the news. It's part of the reason why I have this channel, because this is how I consume news media. Find it and go through it. I don't, the rare occasions when I turn on ABC News. And, it's such garbage. Even, I can't watch the ads. I can't have the ads on when the kids are watching, because it's just full of degenerate shit. I mean, anyway. 9% of poll respondents have not bothered to look at the voice. Yep. Will not help Aboriginals. And we'll just create another layer of bureaucracy. We already voted for Albo to do what he promised if he won the election, and he's finding other distractions like this to waste time on. What did he promise to do? Didn't he promise to build 1 million houses? And now they're getting 30,000? I'll talk about that in another video, guys. I even went so far as to special order a shirt with the word "nope" printed on the front. Who counts the votes? Yeah, Yogi asked, and this is, hang on, who told us? You can do it for $230 so you get paid. We'll see. We only need to look at Canada as a case file for why this is a bad idea. A similar committee exists there, and if memory serves, last financial year they spent somewhat in the region of $140 billion. Yeah, it's going to be another cost, and we're going to have to pay for it. And it's not going to help the people that they're proposing they're supposedly representing. How much of that money is pissed away? How far could $400 million go in addressing some of the regions? What about the crime that's going on in Alice Springs? How many coppers could that hire out there? Travel north in WA and you'll realize some people can't be helped. Money being given by taxpayers is the problem, and by no means am I against some form of welfare in this country. When you're allowed to sit around and drink yourself into oblivion, something your children steal and be violent without consequences most of the time, and get paid to do it, there's no incentive to change. Another layer of government on the gravy train won't help anything. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's kind of heartbreaking, really. And this is not just Indigenous communities. This is the, well, I'd say the welfare trap that a lot of people can be stuck in. There is no incentive to change. But also what can you aspire to if you can't even own the piece of dirt that you're on because it's controlled by the body corporate? Sorry, the council. No to apartheid, no to frivolous land claims, no to wasted money, no to welcome to country. Oh, welcome to country. No to race-based politics, and the biggest no to all of them, Albo, Australia's worst Prime Minister in Australian history. Oh, we'll have to see. He's still got a bit of time to go. I'm not voting. I'm trying to get Lydia Thorpe inside to start a separatist movement for Aboriginal people to take Northern Territory and turn it into a new country, like we allowed PNG to be a country. And my comment to this was, we shouldn't have. Look at where PNG is going now. If it had remained a territory of Australia, would it have wound up better? Maybe, but he's going now. And if NT became a separate state, how long before it conquered? Well, no, it won't do anything. Yeah, I think so. Most people who say no or yes probably haven't read through the government's advisory reports. People are either hell no, yes, or unaware of what they're actually voting for. I sat and read through 100 pages on the bus. It's admittedly needed, but the concern is it's more red tape and not prescriptive enough to work effectively. It wasn't needed. Albo hasn't even read it. As I've said, I think the issue is the bureaucracy that's engaging with people around Australia. I don't think even a change of government can do anything about that. I don't think getting more representation in the House of Reps can get anything about that. We need a clean out of the bureaucracy. How's that going to happen? No one seems to mention ATSIC for some unknown reason. I wonder why. Yes, there's still corruption claims going on about that. Remember that, guys? We've all seemed to have forgotten about it. The government suddenly becomes benevolent with more government, right? Yeah. If in doubt, vote it out. A donkey vote is for fools. There are already enough voices to Parliament. We don't need another one that separates it into us and them scenario. They were here first, but they didn't grow out of the ground. They migrated here, just like the English, just like the rest of the immigrants that make up this land. Did Aboriginals have a name for the entire land? At least the English did, even if it was in Latin. I mean, if you have an understanding of history, we're all, I mean, if you're European, you're of European descent, even, you're a mishmash of so many different cultures and groups. English is the bastard language of all of these other ones. Oh, I feel sorry for my kids when we tell them like a rule in English and it's this mishmash of all these other languages and then it breaks the rule and I go, well, that's what you get. What else? Aboriginals were compensated the day they got pulled out of the Stone Age and put on welfare. Now it's time to pay back that welfare by not leeching off the system. Oh, I mean, were they living in the Stone Age? Yeah, well, I don't think they reached Neolithic, did they? But isn't the argument been that the welfare has been a negative for some communities? It disincentivizes work. A nation divided will not stand. Western government is corrupt. Tribal sovereignty is the only way. Well, then you want to go down to a much smaller level. Which tribe? The geniuses have spoken. It will be rigged for yes. The architects of the voice are communists for a start. And they believe that we have to pay them rent to live on their own country. Albo is a joke, not reading the entire voice proposal and saying that treaty and reparations has nothing to do with it, when he wears a t-shirt stating the opposite. And what a waste of money and time this will lead to Albo's downfall in the next election. I think it will. At least, if this goes no, if the no case gets through, Albo will, unless something goes wrong. But then again, what we got Dutton. I mean, will he get any emotions? He needs a makeover like Albo. Who else do we have on the coalition? Why the hell would I give government more power? I'll vote no because Alan Jones told me to. A large proportion of Aboriginals are voting no. Unlike the gay marriage referendum, where every gay person was voting yes. Are you sure? I think I know a few who didn't want to get married. I guess they think they still voted yes. An unelected bureaucratic body that's unaccountable to the people is the epitome of tyranny. Albo wants it and Dutton despises it. Is it a vote for the voice, or is it political point scoring and power? In my mind, it's a vote for Liberal or a vote for Labor. Then you got to know what you're talking about, mate. Kind of like having a permanent Labor vote constituted in. They already have too much influence. Oh, I mean, yeah. Well, will it be political? They're saying it won't be political, but 100% it'll be political. How can it not? It's going to be commenting on politics all the time. If you vote yes or no, you agree to their terms and conditions, one of which is Parliament can veto a no vote. I don't agree to that terms and conditions, so I won't be voting, period. Only corporations need to have voices. Others, who cares? You see what happened in Western Australia? Yes, I mean, we all saw that. That was just utterly insane, wasn't it? This is a taste of the bureaucratic garbage that gets put in place without... I'm assuming it's only possible when people are so far removed from day-to-day life. They don't realize what they're putting into practice and how it will affect real people. Stops a nation with more red tape, it becomes about greed and the minority. If it fails, I thought I heard Dutton say they will put up their own if elected. Yes, I think I heard him say that. I mean, that's just crazy. We don't need another referendum. If it fails, just give it 20 years. And then, maybe we'll just drop, Ayn Rand books on all communities around Australia rather than wasting money on this shit, and get some libertarian thinking in these remote communities. And then let's see what happens. Yes, because it couldn't be any worse than Labor or Lib's decisions. Oh, yes, it could. It certainly could. Love or hate Labor or Liberals, they could be a lot worse. Look at the Greens. Surely any critical thinking Australian will vote no. Vote yes for constitutionally enshrined elite masters. Yeah, right. Centralisation of government has removed everyone's local voice. It's a national problem, not a skin colour problem. Yes, 100% Aussie. And that is... We've got a few more here. Hang on. That's what you're all saying. Spoiler alert. Where's the hell no option? Sad face for all the yes votes. The Constitution is how government operates. It's not about us for Australian citizens. Yeah, like I want accounts of unelected bunch telling me I have to pay reparations when in 20,000 years, none of my ancestors ever saw an Aborigine. I'm first generation immigrant. Well, I'm first generation too, aren't I? A yes vote will formalise in Australia's constitution black separatism. They clearly be used as a vessel to usher in more communist society. Anything of such importance, when presented as a disarray of contradictions and lack of detail to the point of dishonesty, must have a no vote. So one, I just can't conceive of any circumstances where race belongs in a constitution. Yeah, this is the thing. I think people are getting more racist. Younger generations are more racist. This is why you've got critical race theory. They blame a whole lot on race, and they think racism is the cause of a lot of people's issues. Where previous generations, I think mine, millennials, with that little bit, or the millennials, Gen X, we were brought up a bit later, later. We're older. We're older. We've got a different mindset. We were all taught not to be racist, not to think about race or even give a shit about it. There's plenty of other ways to be pissed off about people. Them being lazy bastards is for one, and being stupid is another. But I think they see the world differently. I think younger generations really see the world differently. More government is almost never the solution to failed government. There are bigger issues the country is facing. There's nothing stopping the government from listening right now. Yes, that's it. They are meant to be listening. They have representatives representing all of these people. They're not doing their job. When every slimy politician, celebrity, and corporation is behind it. Yeah, well, yes. Hell no. A yes vote will divide the country on race. I feel like the fact the NT doesn't have a stronger vote in these cases as other states, only counting towards a national majority, not a state majority, as they're not a state, is the first thing we should change. Otherwise, it is not a fair polling of public's opinion, especially considering that there are states with a much smaller Aboriginal population, like SA in Tasmania. Even the ACT has it better. At least they get a chance to influence politicians directly through proxy. Now, that's an interesting point too. When's our statehood on the cards for the territory? We all know it's likely to pass irrespective of the vote. WEF depends on it for the next move. I really hope a lot of people wake up to the World Economic Forum being a bunch of talking wankers and not our evil overlords. Because then we'd be running with bloody German efficiency, guys. It'd be a utopian future. Even blind Freddie knows the outcome of voting yes. They're already ministers for Aboriginal Affairs enough. It would be just another junket committee. Only the select few ever benefit from the billions spent each year. The last thing we need is another 1,000 people being installed into Canberra elite living off the taxpayer. The government can't legislate better lives. Yes, but I think they can legislate worse lives. They can legislate worse livelihoods. Look at all the energy policies. Is your power bill gotten cheaper now? Start at home, make your own bed, gain independence, and better your life, then help those around you. Maybe we should just pay a tour for Jordan Peterson to tour all around Australia. Adding another layer of government to an already dysfunctional government is not the answer. Every Australian can run for office. Every Australian has a local rep. Every Australian has a voice. So this is where I asked you guys, how do you feel like your voice is being heard by Parliament? So HeiseSays viewers. So based on this, 97% of you feel like your voice is not being heard. So we need a representative body of the 36,000 subscribers to the channel here. We need a body to represent our views to our politicians. What do you reckon, guys? I think it's a great idea, huh? Yeah, I mean, that shows you. It's a stupid point. But I think this is just the natural state of a democracy so large. Everyone feels that we're not being heard. And politicians don't seem to care what a lot of people say, particularly the big party ones. They just have to go, well, Labor just has to blindly go with the party. You'd be kicked out of the party if you voted against this. You don't even have a conscience choice there. So if you're a Labor voter, you're against the voice, you're not going to get represented because they don't have that freedom of thought. That's what you're voting for. That's the people you put in power. They can't make their own decisions. They just have to follow the party. So it's obviously we need a second referendum to establish a voice for Australians. Our voices have been progressively shut down over the decades. The one-sided media has been corporatized, and access to social media will soon disappear. Now, I think social media is the problem. I think it's causing greater political divide. The guy who voted yes must be Kevin Rudd. No, but in defense, when I wrote a series of emails over issues regarding COVID policy to my local MP, he personally called me back to hear my story and offer what resources were available. Likewise, got a very sincere email back from Pauline. Well, yes, I think a lot of this is... I wonder how many Aboriginal Australians are completely disenfranchised with the government. I know at university there was a lot of outreach to try and engage with remote communities. There was an architect, he would go and work in remote Indigenous communities to improve their quality of life because the housing that was being built just wasn't suitable. It didn't meet their cultural needs. And just the hot water systems that were installed weren't robust enough to deal with the water in these areas. He would go out there and engage with them and improve their lives. Because if you don't have hot water, you're going to get eye infections in the kids. It's going to mean you have issues you can't clean it, you can't go to school. It just flows on through the whole community. But you got a whole lot of people going out there doing a whole lot of talking, a whole lot of promising, and nothing materializes. So there'd be so many people that are just over it, over all the bullshit and the talk. Make political parties and members accountable for Australia's debt and repay it. Remove negative gearing. So my voice, remove negative gearing, stop foreign ownership, penalising individuals leaving vacation properties, stop immigration. Damn, RC. you're tough, mate. Not going to happen. But yeah, that's, you know, you can express it. They're never going to stop negative gearing. Come on. Or what they'll do is they'll stop it for every generation moving forward. They'll keep it themselves. That was bloody Shorten's proposal. He was going to keep it for himself and all his generation, but all the younger people could get stuffed. Yeah, it's not fair, is it? The only thing politicians want to hear is when it's election time. There must be 2 politicians who voted yes and no. I'm One Nation, so there's 2 federal reps, and for the most part, they do represent me. I think there's some things they can do to encourage work-from-home regional living. Possibly, but even if they hear it, it's simply ignored. Elected representatives do not represent what we want in Parliament. The first and foremost must be do our bidding and not any party. This seems to be what Australians don't understand. Well, I'm thinking, how many libertarians do we have in Parliament? We have a few, but none at the federal level. The problem is Australia is not a libertarian society, guys. No, we win. Not by any measure. The last few years have certainly made that clear. Although they were the only opposition, frankly, in Victoria, the members there. And this is why you need a mix of people in Parliament. So you get a mix of ideas. The way the system is supposed to work is our representatives either seek or accept feedback from their constituents and use that to define or guide what they do or vote for in Parliament. This is in essence their job. Of course, what actually happens instead, our politicians are not only guided but held in lockstep by their party politics, regardless of whether this is in line with their constituents' desires. Yep. About the only exception being any representation by radical organized groups for general minority causes. This then results in the supposed silent majority because they do not have an organized representative unless every single one of them gives feedback. Oh, and they can hear it, they just don't care. So yes, well, there we go. How long have I been? Oh, bloody hell, I've been going for 40 minutes, guys. So yes, let's have a chat about all of this, eh? So what do you reckon? Do you think we need to set up the HeiseSays voice to Parliament? 97% of you don't feel like your voice is heard. And I know bloody way I'm running for politics, guys. Oh, that'd be a shit job. You've got to respect the people that step up and do it. Okay? I'd rather spend time with my family. That's the one thing. You hear about them going to and from, traveling everywhere, talking everywhere. They don't see the families. There's so many breakups. So we have to, cut them a bit of slack and appreciate the burden they have. But also, we have to hold them to account. Because why do we have this mess? Why do we have so many people in Australia calling for this body when we already have House of Representatives members whose job it is to represent these Australians? Fundamentally, that's my point. That's my argument right there. We don't need more government. Let's fix what we already have. Anyway, guys, thank you all for watching. I know I've been struggling a bit to keep up with the content flow. I need to make some adjustments to my time frame. The kids are going to a new dance school, so that's thrown everything out of the water, my whole schedule. I had it down to a bloody T, locked in. So that and Starfield. Yeah, we'll blame Starfield. That's the real reason. Anyway, guys, take care. Have a great night. I'll see you next time. If you want to support us, you can. And also check out HeiseBim and Heise Does. And if you want to support us, you can on YouTube or Patreon using our referral links, buying our pocket squares, or calling me if you need an architect. Take care. Have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.